Me stepping into my biggest fear of stepping out in front of people, and I'm really grateful to be following you, because that's the thing. I mean, I wrote down this mantra that I've been carrying with me: be willing, be courageous, be free. You keep it up, you'll free yourself. So now I'm gonna okay. So I'm just gonna kind of give like a timeline of what I've been going throughout my life, as short and sweet as possible, because my intention is to do what I'm doing right now, being in front of people and sharing my healing journey. But I had to go through some stuff, and I've had to work with coaches and therapists my entire life, starting from day one, about the things that started. So what I do is I help people walk through trauma and heal the trauma from their nervous system, which I'm like shaking right now in my nervous system. So what is this? Fight, flight? I want to go. I want to go! Yes. So I'm not going to go into every story, obviously, I don't have time, but childhood trauma was the beginning. I went through something called parental alienation. Has anybody heard of that? Nobody? Yes. Okay. You have. Okay, so basically what it is it can either be during a high conflict divorce or in an intact marriage. Parent lies to or doesn't tell the whole truth to the children, so the children start pushing the other parent out of their lives. That's what happened with me. I was the parent that got pushed out of my kids' lives, who are in a similar position as I was. There was a long stretch of about 10 years where it was no contact at all because they chose that. I now have a relationship with my son, who's 34, and I'm working on a relationship with my daughter. Awesome. So it's coming back. So little by little, that's what I'm talking about, my healing journey. Then I was in the military for 8 years at the same time that this was going on. And in the military, there's something called military sexual trauma. And it wasn't a direct hit as far as, it was more sexual harassment. And I blocked the person who was doing it, and then was harassed in general until the day that I left the unit. Jeez. So this is something that goes on in the military, and people don't really know that that's happening, especially with women. It happens with a lot of people right now, or has always been that way. Then, of course, I've had 2 divorces. I had 2 long-term relationships all 4 relationships were with narcissists, whether they were covert or overt. So I got to experience that trauma. And my entire life, I basically had issues with money, because later on in my life, one of the processes that I did was I found a letter in my mother's documents, who was from Czechoslovakia. She was born in Czechoslovakia, where my grandfather wrote a letter to an uncle saying that the SS, the Nazis, came into their home, took their bank account, and took their business. So there's this generational trauma that we're dealing with here now, so, and I got to a point from the parental alienation, that was my catalyst to step into this healing journey. And I was scared shitless. I couldn't take it, excuse my French for anyone who, but that's the way it was. I panicked at every turn. I was, part of that was the fact that I'm highly sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive person. I don't know if anybody in here recognizes themselves as a highly sensitive, but you can connect deeply with your feelings, and your mind goes all the time. So that might be, it's something to take into consideration. So I've done this healing journey for over 30 years. During this time, I've done all kinds of external things, and I kept looking outside of me to find answers, couldn't find it. Finally, I woke up and came inside and started doing the process inside, my intention was to get to inner peace. So that's what I've been working on for the last 8 years, through forgiveness of my mother for criticizing me when I was little. All these fears built up in my life, so I can't even really specify one particular fear. It's just everything, and it's constant in my nervous system. And for me to just step away from that at each, interval of healing is something that has been a challenge, and I'm grateful for it. I discovered things in the past couple of years where I went to a personal development course, and still say that this was big for me. I walked on those coals, the fire coals. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And so I learned I'm strong and scared, and strong and scared. So that went on for a long time. And so I actually met Jeanette through my former partner, where he brought me on stage. We wrote like 33 songs, and 12 of them were put on a couple of EPs. That was the first time I actually went on stage to sing. So that was a big deal for me. So that was my next step out of, into the fear and putting myself out there. And I also write, and I do poetry as well. What I feel right now, my biggest fear is obviously, right, as I feel now, is putting myself out there. Because I've never felt good enough. So when I finally, and that helped me. Okay, so because of all these things that happened, and I feel like I'm talking in circles right now, because of all these things that happened, what came out of this is something that I've been doing for the past couple of years. I blog, I have a YouTube channel called The Ride of My Life, where I share everything that I've done. I share my, bad moments and great moments, and I traveled last year, and I did all this stuff because I'm working on putting myself out there. Because I have that fear of not belonging. I get that. I have that fear of being a disappointment, big time, Jeanette. And for me to learn trust is the most important thing. Trust the universe, trust myself, trust God, trust, and have patience helps me to release that fear. And it's been a challenge, but it's getting better every day, and I hope to be doing something like this for people all over the country, traveling and just sharing my story and helping others know the truth of find the truth of who they are, which is not fear. And I think that's it. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this video. I just wanted to follow up before we end here with some logistics on how to stay connected with me. So the first thing is, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, it greatly supports this channel, and it creates a wider community so other people can see my videos. Also, the videos and blogs that I do, if you could consider supporting the work that goes into this, I will have a link below for PayPal. And then my website, you can join me in a healing partnership for an immediate support session. If you have something pressing that's going on in the moment, or you want to learn more about yourself as a highly sensitive person, whatever that is for you, you can join me on my website. And then finally, you can also get in touch with me through my website via email, and you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook. And I also will have all the links for those below. So again, thank you for being here on The Ride of My Life. Peace.